So are you challenged at connecting with others? Do you really struggle with personal development, things like self-esteem, self-worth, setting and achieving goals, following through? Well, if that's you, you're in the right place. I'm Sheila M, and I help struggling communicators and individuals that are challenged with personal development to overcome their challenges and live their best life. Our topic of today, which is self-esteem and communicating effectively. The framework that I like to use each week as I choose a topic is based on what I call SO principles. And so when you think about that, that's when you're pouring into something, when there's some kind of investment that you're making, always with the expectation that you'll get something back. And so principles is about how we invest in others, ourselves, and wisdom so that we can overcome the challenges that we face. And so S stands for self, O stands for other, and I heard on my cat on the phone, I could hear him. So S stands for so, and O stands for others, and W stands for wisdom. So as we talk about self-esteem and communicating, now to communicate effectively, you actually need to feel good about yourself, have confidence, have knowledge in how to connect well and effectively and meaningfully with others. And without that, there's always fundamental things that are not there. Now, I could just bring you on live or through workshops or online. I could teach you skills, meaning how to do things. But if you don't have that underlying foundation, then your change is going to not be lasting, not be effective, and not be authentic to you. And so I think we all start at the same place. And that is where within us lies wonderfulness, I'd like to say. And we all got it going on. You have inside of you what God intended for you to share with the world and make impact. The challenge is that in life, we come across stuff, all kind of stuff. And it does impact our perceptions, our thinking, and how we react to things and people. And so for many of us, including me, my past really created some challenges for my self-esteem. In fact, I would commonly tell people that my self-esteem was somewhere under a rock, deep at the equator level. And so it really was pretty bad. And what I found is that the worse it gets and the worse the negative self-talk is, the vicious cycle that continues. And it moves into depression. It moves into you not communicating and touching and connecting with people very much at all. I found myself at certain points in my life wanting to kind of be alone and not interact with others. It just does a horrible thing in all of this wonderfulness that God has placed in you. And so we first want to talk about self in the SO principles. So when it comes to self, I really want you to really stop and consider and begin to ask yourself the questions that, what are those things in you that are valuable, that can add and impact those that are around you? And I think to start thinking like that, you have to be kinder to yourself. And so when we talk about negative self-talk, it was regular that I would say stupid, you just a failure. I would just say all these things that, were tearing down who I was. And we don't understand often, but emotions really have their resting place in our brain. And our brain treats these emotions differently based on how we act and we feel. And so next week, I think I'm going to deal with this topic again, because I was doing all of this research on this, and I really found how the brain treats self-esteem. And I really want to dig into that. But for today, we're going to keep it light, because you could never cover this subject. It's not simple for 99% of us that deal with low self-esteem. It's pretty complicated, but I want to get us started on an uphill journey. And so you've got for yourself to stop the negative self-talk. In fact, I strongly believe in affirmations. If you were to go in my bathroom, you'd see all kind of notes posted. In my journals, I have written down lists, just to remind myself when my head gets a little cloudy and all I see are negative things, I really go to my affirmations, which aren't verbs, but they are descriptive nouns that speak to me. And even in that moment, if I don't feel it, I know that's who I am as a person, and I claim it and I say it. And there are times even in the mirror that we're failure, loser, and everything else is pointing at me in the mirror. I'm pointing right back and saying, I'm valuable, I'm lovable, I'm successful, and all those other kind of good things, And so that's what I really want you to work on for self this week. Eliminate the self-talk. And sometimes the voices are so strong, you really do have to fire back with something positive, some affirmation that cancels out that negative self-talk. And then start taking a step back and looking and noticing when are the times that you're using this negative language to eventually stop it, because you are valuable and you do have something awesome to offer the world. And so when we talk about others, typically we're talking about how you can do things to more positively impact others. This time, as we're talking about self-esteem and communicating, I want to take a step back and talk about what others can do to our self-esteem. If you have a trouble with self-esteem, you know what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying to you, and I'm charging you with this today, is to take back your power. I often talk about your ear gates and what you let in. You've got to kind of change the channel, lock the door, go a different direction. Anytime that you find that there are these people that, even if they may mean well, we do know that hurting people hurt people. But even despite that, when you're faced with people that tear you down or say things that are hurtful or that definitely attack your self-esteem, you've got to build up the confidence within yourself, first of all, that who you are isn't based on what other people say that you are. And so you have to have your own set of values. And you have to stand on those, that despite who is around you, that you will not take in any of their garbage, or I like to say foolishness, right? You got to stay on your own. So you can't always remove these people out of your lives, but that's where it will become important for you to understand who you are. Just diverting just for a second. Like, my identity at one point in my life was built upon what I accomplished. I'm one of those. I'm a worker. I'm a doer. So I might not have even been very verbal with you, but I showed you by what I completed, what I achieved. And so there came a time in my life where I had heartbreak, my job ended, I got ill. It's one of those periods in life where when it rains, it's a tsunami. All of a sudden, everything that I had built my identity and my self-worth and self-esteem with disappeared. And I was like an empty shell because I only thought my value had to do with what I produced. And so that was a really, really painful journey. And so I had to dig out of that rut, and you might be there. And so I want to speak to you today that you are more than what you do. right? And so associating yourself with your value, and see, you keep hearing me say value, and I'm going to talk about value in a while, is the most important thing that you can do. This week in your journal, write down things that you value. Write down your value. Write down all the good accomplishments that you made. And then each day commit to finding 5 new affirmations, descriptive nouns of who you are. None of us are perfect, so we might not always act like we want to be, but claim who you are and stand on that, and don't let anybody steal that away from you. And so W is always for wisdom, because in how we approach life, when we build our personal development and communication skills, we always want to use wisdom. So the wisdom word this week is values. I found that when I look at different seasons in my life, when I was younger, my values were what everybody told me that they should be. And then I came to a point of my life when I started creating values based on what I wanted. And then also for me, I found faith. And so my values then turned to what the world says, which changes every week, every day, what your friends, what colleagues, what the media is pushing. My values changed to be based on what God said that they should be. And that became my foundation. And so when your values are set, then they become a foundation that no matter how crazy your day, your world, your year, your family, your friends, your living situation, your finances, no matter how crazy and insane things can get, your values are what supports you because you have that strong foundation. So my challenge to you today for wisdom is, what are your values based on? They need to be based on something bigger and beyond you, and something that you can depend on, something that when the voices are telling you something differently, you can go to those values and know that you are who you are and you're all that. Just want to remind you that to make sure that you are journaling daily, and remembering those 5 affirmations, and that you develop values that you can depend on and that can be your foundation despite what is going on around you. And obviously, the dead weight, the negative energy, the yucky people, remove them out your life. And if you have to work with them or unfortunately live with them, you know that when you're around them, that you have to stand on who you know you are, despite what they might be saying. Because again, hurting people hurt people. And you don't know what you don't know. If you've grown up in a situation or been exposed or even gotten hurt and are now cynical and bitter, that's how you acted out on people. So it might not even be personal. They might not even mean to do it towards you, but it's just where they're at in life. So stand on who you are, be all that you are, claim your wonderfulness so that you can live your best life. Connect with Sheila M so you can sign up to be the first to get resources and product updates. If you feel like, I got a destiny, but I'm not reaching it right now. I got plans, I got purpose, but I need help getting it together. I want to invite you to a link so that you can book Discovery Call. And that's where we can have a chat and talk about how I can help you reach your goals. All right, it's been awesome. God bless you. You have an awesome week. Make sure that you invest in yourself so you can have a brighter future.